What's happening, guys? It's late. Well, it's not really all that late, but I've been working really hard these last couple of days with school, so I'm rocking the glasses in this video. And the Oklahoma Sooners just lost to the Texas Longhorns, and I pride myself on being one of the Sooners fans who doesn't run away and hide when we lose. No, I get on this camera and I get on YouTube and I talk. And it's really funny. It's really really surprised me, but my attitude toward this loss can only be summed up in one word. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Texas. The Texas Longhorns, they came to play. They were in Austin. The final score was 73-68, I believe. And I'll get into more on that later, but the main thing about this game was it revolved around one guy, Blake Griffin. And you Texas fans and OU fans, you can say whatever you want, but this isn't making an excuse. The Texas fans know this. They know that because Blake Griffin went out, that was a large part of how they won that game. And they know this. They can deny it all they want, but they know that by giving Blake Griffin that concussion, that was a large part to how they won. And you can bring up how many points, the few points that he scored in the first half. No, not even in the first half, the 11 minutes that he did play. But that doesn't mean a thing. Shooting's one thing, but he's a big, major physical guy. He's a big guy for our defense. And he's also a major leader for this team. Anytime you lose a captain in a game, it really, really hurts your team. That'd be like the Texas Longhorns losing a game because A.J. Abrams went out or Damian James went out. And you guys would be saying the exact same thing that I'm saying. So this isn't an excuse whatsoever. And the Texas fans know this. But like I said, I'm not taking anything away from them. That's one of the things I love about this rivalry, is that you have two teams that hate each other so much that they get all the motivation they need just by playing each other. That it doesn't matter what the past records are or how good each team is, that anything can happen. And anything has happened. Longhorns beat us in Austin, we beat them in Norman. 1-1, even. And you can only expect that from a rivalry like this. And I hate Texas with every fiber of my being, but I respect them as a team, because that's another thing I love about this rivalry, is that we hate each other's guts, but we respect each other at the end of the day. Now, getting more into the game, I was proud of the way my Sooners lost. Believe it or not, I was proud. And like Jay said, we were expecting to lose at some point. We just didn't know when that was going to be. We had no idea when the shoe was finally going to drop, because you're going to eventually lose in a conference as good as the Big 12. We just figured it would be against a team like Kansas. But, the shoe fell in Austin. And like I said, I'm glad we lost that game, and I'll get more into that later. But I'm also proud of how my Sooners fought on, even with Blake Griffin gone. Willie Warren became a beast for us in the second half. He really showed up, and as a freshman too. And as a Sooners fan, you can take this loss, you can get a lot of satisfaction out of this loss, and that's one of the things that you can take satisfaction away from this, because now we know that when Blake Griffin eventually leaves this team, that we're still going to have a great team, that we can still produce some really great results. So we can take satisfaction out of that. And now to get into this, I would much rather lose to a team like Texas, who are still 3 or 4 places below us currently in the Big 12 Conference and can't really do much to hurt us. I would much rather lose to the Texas Longhorns than to lose to a team like Kansas, who we are now tied for leading the Big 12. But I mean, again, I'm not taking anything away from Texas. Texas, in my opinion, played a much better defensive game than they have these last couple of games. And in a large part, that's due to the motivation of this rivalry. And A.J. Abrams really showed up for them. I mean, when you score three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer, it's hard to stop a streak like that, no matter what team you are. So, I'll give him credit. I'll give the Texas Longhorns credit. But at the same time, I mean, you can take so many things away from a loss than a win. And the outcome is still murky about Blake Griffin. You know, we don't have a whole lot of time to shoot the breeze because we're hosting the Kansas Jayhawks here in Norman tomorrow night. So, you know, we haven't quite heard yet if Blake Griffin is going to play in that game. But we can take what we learned with this loss, develop in the time we have, become a mature team, move on, and take on Kansas. Because Kansas is a really scary team. We got to bring everything we got to Kansas because this game, Monday night, decides the leader of the Big 12 and possibly the champion of the regular season. So, hey, you know what? I can say congratulations, Texas Longhorns. You earned that game. You won that game in Austin. And, you know, as far as Sooners fans go, another thing we can take satisfaction out of is that we beat you in Norman. And the kicker is we didn't have to give any of your starters a concussion in order to do it. But trash talking aside, it was a really great game. Again, congratulations to the Texas Longhorns. Boomer Sooner. Texas sucks. Kansas up next.